How can we cultivate and possess the highest treasure possible in this world, which is love for God in our hearts? Can Bhakti be cultivated through Gyan? Is there a link between devotion and knowledge? There definitely is. Consider the example of the philosopher's stone. This is the mythical paras. If you touch it to iron, it transforms the iron into gold. There was one government officer whose family was residing in the village. He had a servant who would take care of the household chores. One day the officer had gone to work when a sadhu entered. He requested to the servant, "I am hungry, feed me. I have a paras, I shall give it to you." The servant was uneducated and did not know the value or meaning of a paras, but nevertheless fed the sadhu and received the philosopher's stone. He thought, "What will I do with it? Let me offer it to my master. He will decorate it and keep it in his drawing room." The servant placed the paras on his master's table. When the officer returned from work and saw the stone, he became furious. "Ramu, who has placed this here?" Ramu explained the matter and said that he had fed a sadhu who in return bestowed this philosopher's stone. The master waved him aside with the brush of his hand and said, "Somebody who possesses a paras, will you find him going around begging? He's handed you an ordinary stone." The master took the stone and chucked it. It went and hit the latch of the door, which was made of iron. In contact with the paras, it transformed into gold. The master was astonished at seeing the yellow metal and said, "What?" He ran and lifted it up. He touched it to the key, which also changed into gold. He pulled up a spoon from the table and it also became the yellow metal. Now it was confirmed. This is a paras. The master leapt 3 feet into the air, let out a cry of jubilation, ran into his bedroom, opened his cupboard, the locker within the locker, and placed the paras in there. Imagine the extent of love he has developed for that one stone, which he had chucked aside earlier. How did the love develop? Did he need to do Tratak meditation on the stone? Or a kirtan or a japa? This is a paras, this is a paras, this is a paras. None of these means. His intellect merely understood its nature and value. That knowledge led to faith in its abilities, and faith resulted in love for it. The same formula applies to the divine realm as well. The Ramayana states, "Jane binu na hoi paratiti, binu paratiti hoi nahi priti." Tulsidas Ji Maharaj explains that until you have faith, you cannot have loving devotion. And faith will come through knowledge. So if we do not have knowledge of God, how will we have faith towards Him? And without faith, there is no scope for loving devotion. One girl was at the dining table. Her mother was lovingly serving her noodles for breakfast when an argument erupted. And the girl, becoming annoyed, stormed out of her house. By midday, she was hungry. She arrived at a restaurant. The restaurant owner was a kind and compassionate man and realized the girl at the gate was hungry. He beckoned her in and offered her a bowl of noodles. The girl was full of gratitude and thanked him profusely. While relishing the noodles, she related her story. And this kind, wise man then said, "Beti, you are expressing gratitude to me for having received one bowl of noodles. Your mother has been feeding you breakfast, lunch and dinner for so many years. Should you not feel more gratitude towards her?" Likewise, if we can understand the nature of God, what He has done for us, the gifts He has bestowed, will it not naturally result in the gushing of devotional sentiments towards Him? That is why our Vedas say you need to know the Supreme. Tameva viditva timrityumeti na anyah pantha vidyate yanaya. This powerful mantra of the Purusha Suktam, it says, only by knowing Him will this entity, the soul, cross over that material ocean. So for this to cross over that, it needs to know the Supreme. Again, the Shvetashvatar Upanishad states, Gyatva devam muchyate sarva pashai. This bondage of Maya will be cut asunder through knowledge of the Supreme. And Tulsidas Ji Maharaj writes, Sohana Rama prema binu gyanu karnadhar binu jimi jalayanu. Love for your Supreme Lord will not happen until you have knowledge of Him. This then leads to the next question: how will we know God? How do we get to know anything? We have three instruments: the senses, the mind, and the intellect. Let us say, if I were to ask you, what is this? You would say, Swamiji, it's a wristwatch. But how did you come to know that it's a wristwatch? I saw it with my eyes. Were the eyes able to determine its nature? Absolutely not. The eyes conveyed the message to the brain, where the mind read it. This is the shape, this is the color, this is the form and size. The intellect then made the decision. This is a wristwatch. Say it out. And you said, Swamiji, this is a wristwatch. So the knowledge that you acquired was through the instruments of the senses, mind and intellect. Now these senses, mind and intellect, they provide us information about the external world. One child was asked by his father, "How big is the aeroplane, beta?" The child looked at it flying in the sky and said, "Father, it's a very tiny object." The father said, "Come." He made him sit in the car and took him towards the airport. From afar, they were able to see the plane just outside the hangar, and the father said, "How big does it look now?" He said, "Like a 3-storied house." And then they reached the airfield, and they were standing at the base of the airplane. And the child said, "My God, this Jumbo 737 is a huge machine." The father said, "Look, from afar, the same object seemed small." So how big then is God? Well, if we use the same analogy, the answer will be from far he will seem small, but from close he will seem big. And yet, this analogy does not apply to God. Why? Because he is beyond the purview of our senses. Divyo hyamutaha purushaha, the Mundak Upanishad states. Vrihatcha tad divyam achintya rupam. Again, the Mundak Upanishad states, God is divine. Your senses, mind and intellect are material. Once, in a circus, there was an animal trainer who used to present his show. Ferocious animals would be released into his arena, and merely with the help of a four-pronged shield and a whip, he would tame the fiercest of creatures. Now that popular show brought many people to the circus. All went well, until one day a musician arrived and he said, I can do the same merely by playing my violin. They said, what? You can tame wild creatures? He said, of course. So the challenge was now set up. First, a bear was released from the cage into the arena where the musician was playing his violin. To everybody's astonishment, the ferocious bear first let out a loud roar, but slowly started getting pacified until it started doing the Kathakali step. It had been tamed. Next, the panther was released, and the musician, merely by enchanting it through his violin, got it to do the kuchipudi. And the third came the tiger. It also looked at the musician and thought its lunch was sitting there. But it started getting affected by the harmonics of the instrument and ended up doing the Bharatnatyam step. Now came the time for the lion. It was released in the cage, the king of the jungles. It roared and looked at this man in its proximity. The musician had full faith in his talent and began playing on the violin more intensely. The lion was unaffected, and it came closer, and it lifted its paws and then came even closer until the man realized that his music was going to have no effect. He then raised the white flag, and people came to the rescue. They neutralized the lion and took it away. The musician asked the circus owner, how did this happen? I have never before come across an animal who was not tamed. The circus owner said, I knew all the while you would not be able to tame the lion. And why so? Because it is deaf. It cannot hear. Likewise, when it comes to knowing God, our senses, mind and intellect have their limitations. Their reach is in the material realm, while God is non-material or divine. That is why the Taittiriya Upanishad states, Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. And the Kathopanishad says, Naisha tarkena matirapaneya. Your mati, your intellect cannot conceive of arguments to comprehend and understand him. Ram atarkya buddhi manabani. The Ramayana is also saying. Does that mean that nobody can ever know God? Of course not. Great saints have known him throughout history. Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbarkacharya, Ramanujacharya, Vallabhacharya, Jagadguru Sri Kripaluji Maharaj. How did they all get to know him? Let us find out from my latest book, Spiritual Secrets from Hinduism. The Yajurveda states that the Supreme can only be known by His mercy. Tasya no rasva, tasya no dhehi. Without the grace of the lotus feet of God, nobody can know Him. When God bestows His grace, He will endow His divine power to our material senses, mind and intellect. Equipped with His power, we will be able to see Him, know Him, and love Him. Those fortunate souls who received His grace became God-realized saints. We have not yet received this extra special mercy, which is why we are still rotating in the 8.4 million species of life. The Ramayana beautifully states, Soi janai jehi dehu janai, janat tumahi tumhahi hai jai. Only those can know you, O Ram, upon whom you bestow your divine grace. And such fortunate souls, the recipients of your grace, become godlike. So when God bestows His grace upon us, what will happen? He will bestow His divine power, the Yogmaya Shakti. So our material instruments of knowledge will get enhanced and equipped by the divine energy. To our material eyes will be added the divine vision, and now we will be able to see Sri Krishna and Sri Ram. To our material mind will be added the divine mind of God, so we will be able to meditate upon His form, and to our material intellect will be added the divine intellect of the Lord, by which we will be able to comprehend Him. So we will attain God by His grace. Having reached this conclusion, a question then arises that what do we need to do to become recipients of His grace? We will discuss this in the next episode of this series, Spiritual Secrets from Hinduism.